Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Major League Baseball Pick Shows. I'm your host, Meg Ruler 31. Just want to say, if you watched the video the other day, I went down to the Baltimore game with the A's, and what an amazing experience! Beautiful ballpark, and if you're not in like LA or New York City or expensive, and check out these ballparks because they have some really good deals. They have this thing in Baltimore. It's called the Pepsi Perch. It's like $45 a ticket, and it was all you could eat last that night. Food. So I ended up getting like a shade over $100 to take my daughter to the game with all you could eat, parking, everything. It was a really, really, really good deal. Seems in this day and age, and there's a lot of good deals too, that include like food at the ballpark, buffets and stuff at the AAA level too. So check out for those deals this summer if you're looking for a cheap, inexpensive vacation, something fun to do. Just go out and support the game. Anyways, I will be covering the early slate here. I figure there's a ton of content usually out there for the main slate. We'll either like put a link to our sheet for the notes, or put a note up in chat before. Main is actually the same on FanDuel and DK today, and it's actually starting at I think like 6:35, 6:40. If they're actually adding in some of the earlier games, which has just been absolutely amazing. Speaking of amazing, the scoring yesterday, holy cow, we had some football games going on. My early lineup, I think, scored like 268, and it was still like 50th. Scored more in my FanDuel NBA lineup. Crazy. And last night the runs came too. So what do we do today? We've got a day slate. Of course, DK and FanDuel can't agree. FanDuel adds on the Houston and Pittsburgh game. The DK slate, so it starts at like 12:35. I think there's like a very early, they got it broken up. So I'm looking at, I think, the early only on FanDuel and the early slate on DK, which is going to start at 110. The DK slate has two more games. I believe it has the Angels and Washington, and I think it has Mets and Philly. So today, it's a Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, and the Mother Nature decided, hey, let's do something great for baseball fans. Let's significantly blow wind out of almost every single ballpark and put the temperatures in like 70 degrees or higher for most of these games. So we have some elite, ideal hitting conditions as if we were in the middle of July, especially like in Coors Field. So there will be offense today, and there will be pitchers out on the mound, but I do not really like many of them. So we'll get to that in a second. So let's run through the games. I'll touch on the pitchers and the stacks as usual, and then we'll go through a breakdown and we'll get you on your way for your Wednesday. So first up, on FanDuel only, we have Houston and Pittsburgh. We have Urquidy and Rich Hill. Urquidy, I think, is definitely in play here because losing some of the value plays on FanDuel, there's really not too many viable pitchers left. So by default, I think Urquidy's in play, even though Pittsburgh has a 4 total and the wind is blowing out 13 miles per hour there, 76 degrees. So very good hitting conditions. I think that's going to be, like I said, that's going to be a theme coming up. Rich Hill on the other side, I don't know. He hasn't been horrible this year, but still, like, he's like kind of like the Bartolo Colon factor, where he's been around forever. He's just kind of learned how to pitch as a pitcher, and I'm sure the velocity is not there. I haven't really watched any games to see like what he's throwing, but I'm sure that maybe it messes up their timing because it's not as fast as some of the other fastballs they see, but I'm sure you can throw absolute junk at them. Bat wise, I think you could, either team you could stack here. I probably like Houston more. I know they're not up on the board because I just pretty much did DK here before I saw that the slate was a little bit messed up like this. So I think you definitely can play Houston, especially the righties here, like McCormick, Bregman, Alvarez, lefty and lefty, still fine. Abreu, Tucker, lefty and lefty's fine too. So you only get 4 on FanDuel. So sorry about that. I think I would definitely look at like concentrating on the top 5 there. In Pittsburgh, the same thing. I'll have to see how this lineup does without Cruz. Just so frustrating when a young player has a severe injury like that. So hopefully he's okay and back in like 6 to 8 weeks or something. Next up, we have the Yankees and the Guardians. We have Clark Schmidt and Peyton Bettifield coming in. So Schmidt, he has a lot of promise. Like the Yankees have a lot of not like money wise invested in him, but just with the opportunity that they've given him. So, but then again, the other problem too is they really don't have many well bodies left. And like they've got some guys that will get better and get in here. So I think like Schmidt has to be in play just on the slate and the cheap one. Although, you know, Cleveland's really not hitting for power. They're playing a lot of small ball. Like they can hit it, but they're more like speed and contact, kind of like Kansas City was based. And Bedfield is just getting called up from AAA. I looked at spring training numbers, nothing super impressive there. So this one, the wind's blowing across the field at 60 miles per hour. But if that turns out a little bit, definitely going to favor any left-handed batter, although the Yankees are more right-handed. So I like a Yankee stack here, and definitely against this young AAA pitcher, and Cleveland's definitely going to be in play also probably as a GPP stack. White Sox in Minnesota, wind blowing out 13 miles per hour, 77 degrees here. You have Giolito, who looks broken, has looked really horrible this season. Of course, and then we have Sonny Gray, who are skeptical his last start. It was about last Wednesday. It seems like it was a week. Maybe it was like Thursday or Friday, but it was and Gray went out there and threw an absolute masterpiece against Houston, who doesn't strike out much. And that was kind of the thing. I looked at him here and I'm just like, well, the White Sox are like 20th in strikeouts, but they're not really hitting well either against right-handed pitching to start the season. But yeah, against Houston, Gray went out and manufactured 13 strikeouts, which again, Houston's not a high strikeout team. So, you know, I think Gray is probably the top pitcher on the slate here, even with the wind blowing out against this White Sox team. Again, it might not generate 13 strikeouts, but probably half of that I would take in this on this slate. So I think I'm going to lock in Gray as my SP1. Giolito, he's in the medium range, but I still think he's a fade. Not that I'm like out there to play Minnesota, but once you get past the first two guys, they're relatively cheap and fill in nicely for your lineups. So if he has another off game, a Minnesota stack could definitely, but with the amount of other offense here, you know, if everything else disappoints and Giolito is who he's been in his first two starts, then Minnesota's looking good. But then again, I'm not like super excited about Minnesota as a stack today. I think I'll probably sprinkle in some of the, maybe take one team into GPP into 20 max, and then I think I'll like sprinkle in some of their players. San Diego Padres and New York Mets, wind blowing out at 14 miles per hour, 74 degrees in New York City today. Blake Snell and Tyler McGill. Snell has had a rough start to start the season. He's got a 7.88 ERA. He had Colorado at home, made it 4 innings, gave a 3 against them, and that wasn't in Coors. And then Atlanta just absolutely lit him up, 3.5 innings, 4 runs, home run. He had 9 Ks in the Colorado matchup. He only had 2 against Atlanta. So, and the Mets have been solid recently with the wind and stuff. I don't want to cross him off, especially on FanDuel, because you don't have that many options. And in a GPP, he might be an option to use. But again, I'm not super excited. If he can go out there and get some strikeouts, but there's a lot of right-handed power here against him, and he's a lefty, so I don't know, a little apprehensive there. McGill, on the other hand, again, we don't really have that many options. He's second most expensive pitcher, but he started off the season decent. He played Miami both times. He had the exact same DK score at 20.5, but in the 2 matchups, he only gave up 2 runs, 1 home run, only had 4 walks, and he had 10 Ks between the 2 games. So the Padres just they've actually been up there a little bit with strikeouts, and they've got this really, really good lineup, but I like them better against lefties and righties usually, even though they can mix and match you pretty well with different players to rotate in the lineup. So I don't think McGill's like super safe, but again, I don't think with the lack of options, I'll probably take a shot on him in a couple lineups. Now, Wrigley Field, the Cubs, I think they scored like 14 runs last night. It was absolutely bonkers. What was the final score of that game? It was 14-9. Feel like they played that one at Coors Field. And that was a wind blown out to 10 miles per hour. And I was blown out 20 miles per hour. It's going to be 80 degrees, even warmer. So I love the offense on both sides here, even though you've got two different pitchers in Gilbert and Stroman, that's hard. If it was cold and the wind was blowing in here, I mean, here you have your lock for your SP1, SP2. I just say play both of them and then get as many Coors Field or other bats in from these good hitting situations. So I still have the guys on the board just in case the wind changes or something, but I don't think I really can play them. I mean, if you think they're going to have, again, we say if the wind's blowing out, they still have to hit the baseball. It doesn't, make the bat make contact with it easier. It just makes it go further when it does. So you have 5 total on both sides. I'm not recommending either pitcher, but if you're multi-entering, then definitely throw them in there because they are decent quality pitchers and they should be able to, in normal circumstances, have a decent game. Like Stroman's really started out the season. He hasn't given up a run in 2 games. He's 2-0 with a 14 ERA and a WHIP below 1. So that's really good. Gilbert on the other side, he's still got 13 Ks, has a 3.6 ERA. He faced Cleveland twice, 4 innings, 6 innings, only 1 home run. So again, in play, but not guys I'm looking at. And in GPP, I would absolutely stack both of these. Or if you're like team fade core sometimes, then I mean there should definitely be runs here. So see how the lineup comes out. Kind of hard to stack the game because like JP Crawford might be the only shortstop. Swanson, I believe, hurt something the other yesterday. I think I saw him as day-to-day. But if he's in, definitely he's in play. Was dealing with cramping before he exited the contest, so maybe he just needs some hydration. Ross also noted that Swanson was at the hospital all Tuesday game with his wife, a member of the U.S. soccer team who told her pretended attendance. So he's got some things going on there. So if he's in the lineup, he's definitely play him. If he's not in the lineup, then you're probably going to go for a one-off in the stack there, but a game stack is definitely in play. Coors Field, like I said, Cardinals and Rockies, Flaherty and Urania. Urania is one of the worst pitchers in baseball, so the Cardinals have like a 7.646 total. That's the highest total I've seen in a while. So love the Cardinals here. Definitely wind blowing out 11 miles per hour, 82 degrees, beautiful hitting weather in Coors. And Flaherty on the other side, I think, is in play because Colorado can hit, but then sometimes Colorado loses it and just can't. So how's Flaherty been doing this season so far? I believe he's okay, but again, like at 7.5, like there's much better options. So it's not bad. 1.8 ERA, WHIP of 1.7, 7 Ks. So he's only given up 2 earned runs. He's faced Milwaukee and Toronto. So Toronto is a decent team. So again, I think he's in play, but I don't think he's the play at all. Love the Cardinals' favorite stack here. Rockies, I'll definitely try to get some of those in. I still like the wraparound thing. Tovar, I've been playing him a lot at shortstop. I think he's a very talented young kid. Looking to try to get his card on Sawyer. I really think, if I've got some comments about that. And one of the things that I have done with my decks, if you do play it, is I have been building teams from the NL West, figuring that they're all going to have series in Colorado, and Colorado's out there a lot. Just like offensively, that especially when the weather gets warmer, instead of everybody trying to buy the team that's in Coors for the week, then you already have a couple teams that regularly should play out there. I know it's a little bit different with before when they played like 13 games against each other. It was a lot better last year. That's when I started doing this, but still, I think it's valuable. Okay, next game we have the Brewers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Jason Junk and Dre Jamison. Junk, he's got called up from AAA. I think he's not a good pitcher at all. It's not just he's just a very low K guy. Had a very bad spring training, so I'm not interested in him at all. It's gonna be like 96 degrees if they have the roof open, like that ball's gonna fly. And Dre Jamison on the other side, I think I have him on the fade list, but I might relook at that. Again, he didn't have a greatest spring training, but the first two starts haven't been bad. He actually held the Dodgers without a run. He just doesn't go deep into games. He's only gone like 2 innings and 2 innings, and he did have one four-inning game. I think it's they're just pulling out of the bullpen because there was an injury to somebody else. So who got injured? Zach Davies. So I don't expect him to go deep into the game. That's why I have him on the fade. But and Milwaukee's starting to put up some runs. Like I can't believe Milwaukee's like 7-3, and like the Diamondbacks are like 6-4. Like looking at their records is just crazy to think those two teams have started off that well this season. Okay, 2 more games here. We'll get this wrapped up. Marlins and Philadelphia Phillies. Cabrera and Wheeler. Not interested in Cabrera. Wheeler, I think definitely could probably be in play here just against the Marlins. Winds blowing 14 miles per hour across field. If it changes, that thing. Marlins, I think to be leverage Jack and Wheeler, I think he's going to be popular here with lack of pitching. And Philadelphia, I think, you could definitely play against Cabrera. But there's so many other better hitting situations that I'm just going to kind of cross that off. And then finally, Nationals and the Angels, Mackenzie Gore and Giffen Canning. I like both these pitchers. Gore was the centerpiece of the Soto trade. He's a very, very good young, talented pitcher. I know he's against the Angels and the wind's blowing out 10 miles per hour here, but it's going to be 66 degrees in LA. So I know there's a lot of right-handed power here on the Angels team, but still I will be taking shots at him just because of lack of options. And Canning on the other side is good. He had a really good spring training, and I'm glad that he's going to get a chance. He's coming off of an injury that he had. It was a groin strain, but he had a rehab start. He fanned 10 batters in AAA, only allowed 2 runs over 5 innings, so it's not like he only went like 2 or 3 innings. So Canning, I think, is definitely in play here. Also, Washington would just be a cheap fill-ins if you need some of them. And then the Angels, I think, definitely just with their power and everything against a lefty, make a GPP option. But again, I think that Gore's going to have a good game and have some really good strikeouts against them. So let's open up the lineups and get you on your way for your day here. So as I said, no surprise, DK, I'm going to take Gray as my number 1 pitcher, probably Gore Canning as my SP2. And then I'm stacking, of course, Contreras, Goldschmidt, second base, I think Donovan there, or if you want to take McMahon, Arenado, Tovar, like I say, good cheap shortstop, but you don't have to go there. If you want to go with Cardinals guy, that works too. Bryant, and then fill in the odds with like Jordan Walker. There's like so many other I like Jordan Walker's like third base eligible on FanDuel, so that's pretty cool. But Carlson could go in there, or I don't like playing Blackman, but Profar. So you've got a bunch of options for FanDuel. Again, Gray, same thing. Goldie, Donovan at second base. Walker, Bryant and Burleson are the ones. Burleson's super cheap. He's a great play for DPA too. I think he's batting second usually through that. Okay, so for GPP, taking Canning. Will I take Gray again? Maybe we get up to Wheeler. That's probably where the other pitcher I'd go there. But depending on how the line, it all depends on if Swanson's in the lineup. If Swanson's in the lineup, I'm going to have to take two cheaper pitchers to be able to get up to him. If not, then again, look how the lineups come out. But Riley, France, or Mancini works. Mancini's outfield eligible also. Honer's probably at second base there. Suarez or Wisdom, one off unless Swanson's in. J-Rod, and then your choice of Hap to Roscoe Hernandez or Bellinelli should be in there too. And like I said, Houston's on the FanDuel slate, so your Coyotes, your Maspin one there. And the same thing, I'm stacking this Wrigley Field game. So I got for you. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat below. Hit me up at Twitter at MegaRoar31. Check back this evening for some notes on the main slate. And if these videos help you, please like, subscribe to our channel. Share with your friends if you want more information on FSi DFS, or you can get into our Discord, and then you don't have to rely on notes. You'll get every single slate that we cover, tiers, showdowns, all that stuff too. Very reasonably priced. The information is in the bio to go to the FSi DFS website and to sign up. So thank you again for watching. Hope you have an amazing Wednesday. Hope these games are as amazing as they look to be on paper here with the winds and the weather. And good luck in your contest. I'll see you next time.